So my name is Bayu Wirawan. I'm from Indonesia Infrastructure Finance. First of all, of course, I would like to thank you, the organizer, for inviting IIF on this event. So we are actually a financing company for the infrastructures, which happen to be to have already financed 2 of GCM projects in Indonesia. So my agenda is morely on the introduction of IIF and how we assess the projects as well as the connection with the GCF. Okay, so IIF was established in 2009. We are under Ministry of Finance through SMI. Joint venture with several multilaterals. So we have ADB, we have World Bank Group through IFC, we have DEG and SMBC. Now, our main mandate is actually to be the catalyst for infrastructure financing, whereby we are, in a way, we are not trying to compete with the banks, but rather to complement the banks. We can do more variety of products compared to the banks, as well as type of financing. So these are the mandated sectors that we can finance. Obviously, all our infrastructures, including social infrastructures. If you can see, some of it is for the waste. We can do waste. We can do electricity. Energy conservation, renewable energy, we can do food distribution, for example, for cold storage and other infrastructure. Now our business model is not like banks. We do not take deposit. We are a non-bank financial institution. We have an advisory capability. We have ability to provide a long-dated financing. We do a project financing scheme in Indonesia, and most of it is that we conduct financing with international standard of social and environmental safeguard. Our business line comprises of 2 things: advisory business. We can support the project developer from the project preparation through preparing the financial, the feasibility study, up until the closing of the transaction. And we do have a financing arm, our investment arm. We can do the fund base from the senior loan. We can do refinancing. We can do subordinated debt. Even selected basis, we can do an equity investment. And we can also provide a guarantee and standby finance. Now, in relation to GEC, I think on the session 2 already mentioned the appropriateness of projects looked at by the GCM. So similar to that, we are also looking at the project itself, and also the commercial viability of the project. So typical to the project financing, we look at the stakeholders of the projects. Most importantly, that we look at the material contracts. For example, for electricity generator, then we look at the power purchase agreement, we look at the supply agreement, and so on. And one thing that probably differs us with the domestic bank is that we can do a limited recourse financing, or even a selected basis, we can do a non-recourse financing. So our project assessment, as usual, is on the KYC, the project overview, the financial model, site visit, and so on, so that we can provide, or we can offer the proposed facility up to the disbursement of the facility. This, I think, quite standard what we are looking at the projects during the due diligence. Now, probably that I would like to show to you is on the renewable projects that we finance. So we do a lot of types of renewables. We have the mini hydro, we have the solar, geothermal, we already do the wind farm. For these two, the first two columns, the mini hydro and the biomass, is actually we are collaborating with it's not with the GCM. In the sense that when the project obtain the funding from GCM, they still requires additional funding to complete the projects, and we assess and provide the financing as well. The good thing is that as some of the funding is blended with GCM funding, then we see strong collaboration, a strong case whereby we are more comfortable provided that GCM is also monitoring this project, and there are two fund source provided to the projects. Now, I mentioned earlier on the social and environmental principles. This, I think, for those that are familiar with ADD or IFC, is similar to them. We have an 8 principle from the social and environmental management system, the pollution, labor, working condition, and so on and so forth. But one thing that I need to convey is that what we do is actually to assess the baseline at the beginning of the financing. So we conduct a social and environmental due diligence. We identify what are the impacted aspect on the social and environmental, and what can be corrected during the financing. So what we would like to have the project company to do is the corrective action plans during the financing. So, the approach that we do is that we are supporting the project company, meaning that we are having an open discussion. We can collaborate in the sense of brainstorming on what can be done better or what are the alternatives to achieve on the corrective action plan and so on. The impact of the sustainable project financing principle is that we can minimize the loss of the potential loss incurred by the projects if something happens or if the risks are materialized during the project life. Now, these are the sample issues of the mini hydro power plant. I think this quite standard. We look at the upstream area, land acquisition, and so on. And the generic corrective action plan or the common corrective action plan that we require is the management system, the appointment of dedicated persons, and the reporting. So one of the requirements is obviously the reduction of CO2, which is in line with the GCM route. So to close this presentation, so I reiterate again that we are mandated to support the financing of commercially viable infrastructure projects, and we require the projects to conduct a sustainable project development. And most importantly, that IIF is welcome the cooperation with other financiers, especially those that have the same concern on the social and environmental issue as us. So by that, I close my presentation. Thank you. Pak Diki, I hand it over to you.